Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Simona. I'm a PhD student in nuclear chemistry. Yeah, nuclear chemistry, pretty cool. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys how you can get into research. It's really not that hard. So when can you get into research? I started my first research term as a second year undergraduate student. I would say that's pretty young. And if I'm being honest, as a second year student, I was not ready to start doing research. So if I could go back, I wouldn't have started doing research until my third year of my undergraduate degree. I think by your third year, you've had enough background in your lectures to actually dive into doing research. But prior to third year, you've really only just touched the surface of the subject that you're going to major in. For example, in second year chemistry, you're doing general analytical chemistry, general organic chemistry. Whereas in third year, you start taking more specific courses like spectroscopic techniques, where you go into everything you need to know about NMR, which is something you need to know if you're going to do organic chemistry research, for example. So yeah. If I were you, I wouldn't start doing research until I was a third year undergraduate student. So now, as a third year undergraduate student, what are your options? What kind of research can you do, and how do you get a research position? There are a few options. Option number one, which is what I did, is you can enroll in the co-op program. The thing about the co-op program, though, is in a way it makes it easier to get jobs because you apply to jobs and you say, hey, look, I'm a co-op student, and jobs seem to like that. But in most co-op degrees, the co-op program doesn't necessarily help you get jobs. There is co-op specific job boards where only co-op students are allowed to apply, which in a way makes it a bit easier to at least get an interview because there's usually less applicants than if the job posting was open to every undergraduate student. Option number two is to just apply to a summer research position in a research group at your school, where usually you will have to apply to an undergraduate research award. So in Canada, these are called NSERC USRA awards. And sometimes your specific school will also have undergraduate research awards that are specific to each discipline at your school as well. So UBC, for example, which is where I went in my undergraduate degree, they have UBC specific undergraduate research awards. But all you need to do is search up undergraduate research awards at X school, and then they should pop up. So you probably will have to apply to one of those, because research is all about funding. So it's hard to get a position if you do not have funding unless the research group you're applying to has a lot of money. Another benefit to applying to an NSERC award and then receiving one is it looks really good on your curriculum vitae, which is known as a CV. We abbreviate it as CV, which you will need to build for when you apply to grad school. And all a CV is a really fancy academic resume. It's not one page, it's like 8 to 10 pages worth of everything you've ever done in your entire life to show people that, yeah, I've established myself to some degree in this field. But I will make a separate video in the future talking about what curriculum vitae are and how to build one and what to include on your CV, because there's a lot to unpack there. Unfortunately, they actually take quite a while to make, and I am constantly updating mine all the time. So even if you are an undergraduate student, it is something to start thinking about. What experiences can I do right now that will help me in 4 years? Because unfortunately, nobody really cares that you worked at McDonald's, for example, when you're applying to grad school. They want to see that you have hands-on work in the research field that you want to pursue or a related discipline. So let's dive a little bit deeper into these undergraduate research awards. So I know in my brain that I want to apply to an NSERC or an undergraduate research award, but what do I do now? First things first, you need to figure out what field you want to work in and what research you want to do within that field. So if I am a chemistry student, I need to search up all the chemistry profs with research groups, because not every chemistry prof at your school will have a research group. So you need to make sure that the chemistry prof at your school that you're looking into actually has a research group. So search up their name, and then usually on their page through your school, there will be a link to their research group website if they do have a research group. I recommend making a list of all of the professors and doing a little compare and contrast. And this is for your own benefit. Search all of the names up within your discipline, go to all of their research pages, read the research summaries first, and just figure out if the research that that group does is even interesting to you. Because if it's not, do not apply to the group. because research is very, very hard. Nobody is telling you to show up in the lab and start doing work. Nobody's telling you to come up with a story and write a paper. So you must be invested and believe in what you do. So find a research discipline that interests you. At the same time though, as an undergraduate student, if you end up doing a research position that you hate, well, it's only 4 months that you have to get through. Instead of not trying out different disciplines, getting to grad school and then investing 2 years of your life in something you don't like. That is also why I do recommend you do undergraduate research. It's not only to buff up that CV, but also allow you to understand what type of research that you actually want to do and what type of research that you like. Because for me, I tried out 2 different research disciplines before I started doing nuclear chemistry, and I fell in love with nuclear chemistry. But when I did my summer research positions in cosmetic chemistry and analytical chemistry, I unfortunately was not invested or passionate about it. But look, I still ended up as a chemist, but a different type of chemist. I figured out that I like nuclear chemistry. So it is good if you have 3 summer options to do summer research, try out different fields, because you never know what one you're gonna like the most. And it's not always necessarily going to be the class that you actually enjoy the most. Just because you enjoy the theory of a class does not mean that you're actually going to like doing research in that discipline. So once you've read through all the research summaries on all the research group website pages, then you need to pick a few professors that you think you want to work for. But now the thing is, professors are very, very busy, especially if you go to a bigger school. They do not want to receive emails half the time from undergraduate students. They care about the grad students. So what you should do instead is, on that research group page, what you need to do is go to our team and then find the emails of the PhD students, and instead of reaching out to the professor, reach out to the PhD students directly, because you're going to be working for a PhD student or a master's student anyways. As an undergraduate student, it is very, very rare that you're going to even interact with the PI, which is the principal investigator or research group leader, so the professor. So you might as well go directly to the source anyways, reach out to the PhD students, because they're who you're going to be working for anyways. So now, once you figured out what group you want to work for, you found the email of a PhD student, you now need to craft an email and reach out to them. So what do you say in the email? Just like professors, PhD students are also really busy. So do not make this super long-winded. Make it at most 5 to 6 sentences. Start off, first sentence, just explain who you are, what your discipline is, what your major is, and what year of study that you're in. Number 2, tell them that you read one of their groups, or specifically their most recent publication. Tell them why you liked it and something about the paper that interested you the most. So when you go through the publications, what you need to do is read through the abstract, the introduction, and the conclusion. You don't need to go through the whole methodology. You just need to get a brief overview of what they're doing, because if you're working for that PhD student, well, your project is going to be related to something that's in that most recent publication anyways. So what did you find interesting in the abstract, conclusion, and or introduction? Let them know in 1 sentence, okay? Not 14 sentences, just 1 simple sentence. I thought it was cool how you synthesized this chelator. I am really interested in learning organic synthesis. I thought the metal complexation component of your most recent publication was really cool, and I am really interested in learning some inorganic chemistry techniques. So then 3rd sentence, you need to ask them, not directly, can I work for you? Rather, ask them, do they know how to get into research? Okay? It is better to ask for advice rather than to ask directly for a job. And then if you're lucky, they will just offer you a job. So I had a research student last summer, and when she initially reached out to me, she just asked for advice. She was like, I want to get into research, but I don't know how. And I was like, well, it's your lucky day, because I actually need a student for the summer. So do you want to work with me? And if I didn't know, or if I already had a student working for me, I would have said, but my friend in the X research group is looking for a summer volunteer or summer research student. So here's their email, try reaching out to them. So even if the first person that you reach out to doesn't have a position for you, they might know somebody that does. So it's kind of a win-win. Finally, just thank them and tell them that you're open to applying to an NSERC, USRA, or a summer research award through your school. And then ask them if they want any additional information from you, such as a resume or a CV. Do not send this in your first email, because if they don't or can't have you work for them, they don't want to see it anyways. So just say, hey, and if you want me to send you a resume or a CV or my transcript, please let me know and I will attach it in the next email. So excited to hear back from you. Thanks for taking the time to read this email because I know you're really, really busy. All the best, Simona, or whatever your name is. Click send, and then there you go. And there you go. The hardest part is pretty much done. Just kidding. The hardest part is actually doing the research, but motivating yourself to actually find a group that you want to work for, research that interests you, and then email somebody is difficult. So give yourself a pat on the back, celebrate the small wins if you do end up sending an email. Because putting yourself out there is hard, so always congratulate yourself. And if you don't, know that I'm proud of you. Alright, so I've talked about how to get funding as an undergraduate student. I've talked about the co-op degree program and or just how to become a summer intern. I've talked about how to find a group that you want to work for, so you just have to read their most recent publications. And then I've outlined how to send an email and what to say when you email the PhD student you want to work for. So now I'm going to talk about, well, what are the PhD students and the professors looking for in an undergraduate student? First things first, we are looking for somebody that is enthusiastic and authentic. Believe it or not, it is very easy to identify as a PhD student or a professor when a student sends you an inauthentic email. So if you are not passionate about what I am researching and you send me an email, I will be able to see right through it. So that is why you must find a research group that really interests you. Because we want students with passion, more energy, more energy. So I guess this kind of just goes back to my last point. Make sure you like the research that you were applying to do. Or make sure that you think you could like the research that you're applying to do. Because it's not your fault if you end up doing it and then hating it. You just need to be in a field that you think you could potentially like. The second thing, unfortunately, is grades. If you don't have any work experience as well, if this is your first research position you are applying to, apply to a research field that you have done well in the related courses. So if I got a 62% in organic chemistry, I shouldn't be applying necessarily to an organic synthesis research position. If I got 92% in analytical chemistry, though, then I should reach out to the analytical chemistry professor that has a research group and say, hey, I really enjoyed the analytical chemistry research course, and I'm thinking I want to get into analytical chemistry research. Here I am. And now I'm applying because I did well in the course. So yeah. But then the thing is, once you get that first research position, then you can go apply to other research positions even if you don't have the best grades in that specific discipline. Then you can go back and apply to other jobs like an organic chemistry position even though you didn't do well in the organic chemistry course, because now you have research experience where you have learnt the basic techniques and skills that will be valuable in any research discipline. And then finally, yeah, I already touched on this, but we're looking for a nice, short, to the point email that highlights why you want to do research and specifically why you want to do research in the group that you're applying to. That is all I was planning on talking about in this video. I hope this was helpful. I hope you work up the courage and confidence to send out that first email. I believe in you. You've got this. Be proactive, be patient. It takes time and effort to get your first research position. So if you don't hear back or you don't get your first job that you apply to, do not be too hard on yourself. Keep on applying and eventually the right position will land in your hands if you do not give up. I encourage you to be curious and be willing to learn, and anybody would be lucky to have you. And at the end of the day, getting your first research position is very valuable because you'll figure out if you want to go to grad school, or you'll figure out that you hate science and you actually want to become a realtor. Either outcome is fine. We all have different paths in this lifetime. Both are valuable outcomes. If you made it this far, please make sure to leave a like, comment, save, and or subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you guys all so much. Leave a comment down in the comment box below if you have a specific question about the topics that I talked about in this video, or if you have a question you want me to answer in an upcoming video. Love y'all so much. You've got this. Slay queens and kings. Bye.